of our parliamentary democracy. We cannot cut and paste rules to suit a political agenda, which is what the PNM did yesterday and which they are doing now. Rowley hijacked the debate by using 2 hours. And what did he do? He didn't come to explain the legislation. Instead, he took his 2 hours to really pelt attacks on Tobagonians who were standing for their rights. He said nothing about the benefits to Tobago or the legislation, because he knows that those bills was just about imposing the PNM's bill on Tobago and to create more dependence on the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago. We left yesterday for several reasons, because of the breaches, repeated breaches of the rules, practice and procedure of the Parliament. In the first place, they had come on Monday, moved a motion to give the mover of the motion on the bills to speak for 2 hours. Now, this is unprecedented. 2 hours for the mover, 2 hours for the first responder, 90 minutes for one more speaker on their side, 90 minutes for one on our side, and 60 minutes for one on their side, 60 minutes on our side, and then everybody else was to be for 20 minutes. But the most important operative words are, there would be no extensions. Understand that? No extensions from the times allotted. Now, this is in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a lockdown. We have debated many important bills, and they've truncated the regular original speaking times as set out in the standing orders to give us less and less time to speak. But yesterday, Monday, they increased this. That was the first thing they did. They moved a motion in the Parliament, they approved that motion, no extensions. Okay? So Monday proceeded. We come into Tuesday. Tuesday is proceeding, and then a strange thing happened. They stood up under a standing order known as 46.2. And this 46.2 says, a minister may conclude a debate on any motion that is critical of the government or reflects adversely on or is calculated to bring discredit upon the government or a government officer. 46.2 of the standing orders. They utilize this 46.2 erroneously, in breach of what the actual wording of the standing order says, to allow Camille, who was supposed to be the mover of the motion, to close the debate, to allow Rowley to get up and say, I am closing the debate under 46.2. I am a minister, and any minister can do it. But they forgot to read the rest of the words. Yes, any minister can do it, but it must be a motion that is critical of the government. This motion before the House was a motion to adopt the Joint Select Committee report on the Tobago bills. How is that critical of the government? Motions that are critical will be motions that we will bring, private members' motions and so on. Matters that relate where we say you're doing wrong, we condemn you. Those are critical. But you are coming to approve your own big fat JSC report. This. Okay? And you are saying that that motion is critical of the government. Another breach of the standing orders. But you know why I think they did it? It is because Rowley was mortally afraid of speaking as a regular speaker, because then one of us would respond to him. But by coming in as the closing speaker, taking the place of the original mover, Camille, that way no one can speak after that. So it was to really stop us from speaking after him. He's mortally afraid of the UNC members and therefore did not want to speak before. And it's not the first time. He would do that. Sometimes he will just have a collusion of the presiding officer, and they will come. And even though we have persons to speak, they will go back to back, one after the other, again, to stop us. So that's what they did yesterday. First of all, in breach of the standing orders, to allow Rowley to close the debate erroneously, in flagrant breach of these orders, 46.2. But then that wasn't bad enough. For them, that wasn't good enough or bad enough. Remember I told you Monday they had said speaking time? The move of the motion, when closing, will have 60 minutes and no extensions. What did they do? After this man ranted and raved and raged for 1 hour, As I said, nothing about benefits for Tobago, all about attacking Tobago leaders like Ocho Charles and Farley and others. That was his job yesterday. He was campaigning in the parliament, I would think, in the manner in which he went so viciously against these persons from Tobago who had a voice, who were brave enough to speak out against the bills and to share their own views. So what did they then do? They moved another motion yesterday evening. When Rowley had finished 1 hour of ranting and raving, they moved a motion to extend him by an extra hour, to give him 2 hours of rant and rave. At that point, the member for Couva South stood up and asked for clarification. You had moved a motion, you had approved a motion, no extensions. What's going on here? Why are you now breaching your own rule that you made? And of course they shut him down. He kept insisting on the point. The speaker told him, look, stay quiet, apologize, and if you don't apologize, leave. If you don't apologize, you will have to leave. So remember, humble person he is, he apologized. And at that point now, they keep saying, I am not there, and we are not there. The way the parliament runs now with this COVID lockdown, we can only have 6 members in the chamber at any one time. They can have 8, we can have 6. So we rotate the members. You come in and you stay out. We have a conference room there, and that's where we are. So I was there yesterday, I was there Monday, I was there Friday. But Faris misses me, I think he's tooting fields. How many times he doesn't see me in front of him there? Where's the leader of the opposition? She's not here. Well, I'm here. I'm in the conference room, I'm in the parliament. So they gave Mr. Rowley an extension to go to 2 hours. And during that second hour, we were in the caucus room, we were in the conference room, and we said, look, this is totally unbearable. We cannot tolerate these flagrant breaches of our standing orders. We will be aiding and abetting them in really breaching our democracy, attacking our democracy, trampling on our democracy, especially parliamentary democracy. In fact, this is now one of the few places that voices against government policies and so on can be heard. This is where we can call for accountability, this is where we can call for transparency, because we cannot gather, we cannot go have meetings, we can't. So this is a very important place in and of itself in a constitutional democracy such as ours, and especially now in COVID times. So we took the decision that we would not stay for the really trampling on the constitutional rights, trampling on the parliamentary process, and that is when we left. So next Sunday time, he spoke his 2 hours. I understand he said something about a lady. There was a mirage in green. Well, fortunately I was wearing green yesterday. And when I went into Parliament, apparently that green was abhorrent to him. And he ranted again. He flipped off as he normally does from time to time. And they continued. They started the committee stage, you see, of the Tobago Constitution Amendment Bill yesterday. They got up to clause 4, this is after we left, and then they adjourned the Parliament to come back today. Now you remember initially they had asked for 2 days for debates on these bills. They are in the Parliament now, and I'll talk a little more about that. So they plan all along. Their view is that their policy must prevail over the people and over the will of Tobago. Tobago is saying it is not the will of Tobago. This was never meant to be internal self-government. It was meant to cement the PNM, to impose the will of the PNM on Tobago, those bills. The people of Tobago deserve legislation to ensure true self-governance, not in name, but by laws which will enable them to decide on the issues which matter to them. The only self-governance that those bills offered was a name, but in context it really subjected Tobago to even more regulations to be decided in Port of Spain, to be decided by the cabinet, the PNM cabinet, not in Tobago, not in Scarborough. The PNM wants to keep their chokehold on Tobago, and that's what those bills were basically designed for. They are avoiding open debate to push the Tobago dependency bill through the Parliament. Every single Tobago leader has come out against these bills, and the only one supporting it is the PNM. And I want to ask them a question today. Almost every speaker for the government yesterday and Monday, they kept talking, well, we know this bill is not perfect, we know the bill is flawed, And even Tracy, the Tobago leader, Davidson, she said it on TV6, I think, on Monday night. I saw that on the news where she said that, well, we know it's not perfect. So why, if you all know it's not perfect, why are you trying to ram it down the throats of the people? Why, if you know it's not perfect? Of course, nothing is perfect. But listen to the people of Tobago. Don't talk down to them. Don't bully them. Why don't you listen? They said, oh, Rowley talks to the people of Tobago. He don't talk to them. He talks down to them. But he doesn't listen. And that has happened once again. So they know it's not perfect. And the question I want to ask is this. What is it that the people of Tobago want? And what it is they wanted in these bills that the PNM cabinet did not agree to? That is why they will say it's not, the bills are not perfect, but take that, Namai. Take it. Take that. We are in charge. Shamfa, we are in charge. Take that. This is better than nothing. We know it's not perfect, but you know what? Who cares? They certainly do not care. So they want to keep that shoe. The only ones who supported it were their PNM persons in Tobago. And yet in the debate they tried to make it a whole PNM UNC thing. Over and over, you would think that we were fighting on election in Tobago, and they say, oh, we don't fight in Tobago. I have a reason for that. My reason is this. We respect the people of Tobago and their right to self-governance. You understand that? Why would I take a UNC candidate party grounded in Trinidad to put a candidate in Tobago? Why? When the people of Tobago are totally competent to govern their own affairs, politically and otherwise. That is what the respect we have for them, why we do not field a UNC candidate there. But the PNM doesn't care. They are a centrist party operating off Port of Spain, seeking to impose their will and to keep their stranglehold on Tobago, and these bills further reflected that. We again call on the government, we call on Rowley to respect the will of Tobago, find out what they want, speak with them. Have you spoken with their leaders? No. No. So they went over there and he talked. He went on a channel and he talked and he explained and so. Were you speaking? All they were asking for is 2 weeks more. You did this whole big bundle of things. The people asked for 2 weeks more. Look at this thing. I saw a Newsday article talking about how many pages up on the website and so on. That the public only found out about maybe on Friday of last week. This. Who in Trinidad knows what's in here? How many in Tobago know what's in here? And yet you come in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a state of emergency to do what? To attempt to make major constitutional changes. 3/4 majority, 2/3 you would Faris, 2/3 majority for this, 3/4 majority. Those majorities are there for a special reason, because these are deeply entrenched provisions in the state of the sovereign democratic state of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore you have to change them. You have to get a big majority in the parliament in order to change it. But no, they don't care about that. You come in the midst of a lockdown, midst of a pandemic, and then you say you had consultations. They told us they printed a little book, not this one, but one book just like this, with Tobago bills, yeah. And the WPC Camille said they put it in every office. They put it in the airport. They put it in restaurant. They're boasting about for consultation. Consultation. So there we go. That is their whole story for the last 2 days. I think the government needs to speak again to the people of Tobago, but they don't intend to do that. I'll come back to what they're doing now. They have to stop telling the people of Tobago they should accept a little at a time. I think they say little. Take this little bit now, man. We're not perfect anymore. Take this little now. I say no. The people of Tobago are right. We support their right. We support their fight for self-determination, for self-governance. Then, the persistent attack on parliamentary procedure, I've spoken about it now. Let's understand what these are for. The rules of the parliament are there to protect democracy, to ensure every citizen is represented. That's what these are for. The will of the majority will prevail in certain instances, but the voice of the minority must also be heard. That's how the parliamentary democracy works. And this is also found in here. In the Constitution, it was very clear that the Parliament may make its own rules and procedures, and these were made originally in 1961. When we were in government, 2015, we amended, because from 60 down to 20. I mean, decades and decades of 1961 parliamentary procedure rules. So we amended them in 2015 to make them more up to date and more relevant. And so these rules are the rules that govern conduct of the Parliament. The rules are not those made on hoof, vike by the government with the concurrence of the Speaker. And let me say now, we intend to. She ceded her time to give it to Mr. Rowley. She ceded her want to remove, through an amendment, to the Constitution Amendment Bill. I don't know if you can even call it that anymore. And here's it, we will give you a copy. A list of amendments, deleting all clauses, deleting all for the people of Tobago. They've gutted it from a 20-clause bill, reduced it to how many clauses. They deleted clause 5, clause 6, clause 8, clause 9, clause 10, clause 15, clause 16, clause 17, clause 18. They've deleted the preamble to the bill. They've deleted the certificate that would have been included, saying this has got the requisite majority. That has been deleted. And it reminds us of the procurement legislation, how they gutted that out. So from this 21 clauses, I think it is, they've come down to just a few clauses left by deleting all these. But what they've deleted are very important provisions for the people of Tobago. So having deleted all of those, the bill is a totally wasteless bill, I guess. There's nothing left in it. Absolutely nothing left for the people of Tobago except just the words. Nothing, nothing, nothing. 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 And if they think by doing that, they will use their simple majority in the Parliament now to get their own way. Is that kind of bad mind and spite and ill will? When we raise the concerns that we can't support this as it is, so they know they will not get our votes. So what do? They remove all the provisions that need a special majority and think they're spiting me and the UNC. You know who is being spited is malice and ill will is the people of Tobago. That's what they're doing. And all they want is to pass the next bill, which doesn't need the special majority, it needs a simple majority to give them money to campaign in Tobago. Let's get it straight, Every speaker who spoke Monday and Tuesday from the PNM was about money. We are going to give you a greater share of the pie, a greater percentage of the budget. Everyone, it was about money. Money. And I made a point yesterday and I'll repeat it today. This is about money, Is it that you want to buy the people of Tobago by telling them we'll give you more money, so support it? They want that money for the campaign. They know they have to do a THA election. Monday, Tuesday was campaigning in the Parliament. Now they're still campaigning. So they will pass that bill, which is also, by the way, substantially changed. As I said, now you have a premier. Did I tell you that before? We're going back to colonial days. So King Raleigh now wants to make provisions for Tobago, together with his courtiers, as they call them. What they're doing there is they've changed one of the amendments. It's everywhere you see the word Chief Secretary, delete and insert the word Premier. So we will now have a Premier in Tobago. Everywhere you see Deputy Chief Secretary, delete and insert thereof Deputy Premier. Now some of you may be too young, I mentioned it before, some of you too young to remember in colonial days, that's what we used to have. Under the colonial powers, we have a Premier. So are we going backwards? We want to go forward, but in fact we're going in reverse. Are we going back to those days, colonial days? And I'll tell you what these bills were doing and what they will still do is to make Tobago a colony. You objected to being a ward, which rightly so, you said you didn't want to be a ward. This man is making you now, this Rowley government is making Tobago a colony of Trinidad. We will never agree to that. So they've removed the power for the THA to make laws. We're back to square one. That's where we are already. So you're going through a kind of farce, like a charade, to say, look, we're doing all this for Tobago, right? Great am I am from Tobago, I'm doing all of this. And what are you doing? You remove the power that you had in the original bill to make for Tobago to make laws. So what happens? You're back to square one. You're back to square one, Tobago, because the Assembly will make laws, but what happens? They will make the laws, but they still have to send it to the Cabinet of Trinidad. The Cabinet will have to approve it, and then the Cabinet will have to then lay it for debate in the Trinidad and Tobago Parliament. So that lawmaking power is a farce. It's a charade. It's a mockery of one of the things that the people in Tobago wanted, the power to make laws. So they removed that. As I say, we are back to the colonial days with the Chief Secretary as Premier, Deputy Chief Secretary as Deputy Premier. Big colonial titles with absolutely no powers. King Raleigh making laws for the colony of Tobago right now. That's what they're doing there. Again, this is a brand new bill. People of Tobago would not have had sight of it because of all the amendments and the cutting out and removal and deletions. It's a brand new bill you have before the House, debating it to yourself. Can you imagine how ludicrous this Parliament has become when today Camille moved and piloted the Tobago Island Bill. And she was given, what, 30 minutes? I think. And then the first responder was who? Faris. First responder is to be one of you and one of me. How ludicrous this Parliament has gone that you're now dubbing Faris as the first responder given the same 30 minutes. I mean, how much more ridiculous can you become in the national parliament of our great sovereign democratic state Trinidad? How much more ridiculous and ludicrous can we go? We wait to see. So it's a brand new bill, no consultation with Tobago for these brand new things, no consultation with Trinidad. It affects both islands. It certainly does. We have noticed as well that under the first schedule of the Tobago Island Bill, government bill, the powers of the THA to administer what they will have power to look after, to be administrators for, they are taking away more powers than they're giving. They're saying, look, Tobago, all right, you'll have 42 areas to be administrators of. And they created 51 exceptions. Tobago, hands off. You can't handle these things. We don't think you could do it. You're a colony now. You stay quiet then. 51 exemptions. Tobago will have no power over those administrative areas. They have taken, as we said, the power to make laws. So basically, I think what we are back down to now is the THA is basically a local government body. They've done nothing. All the ranting and raving and pontificating for 2 days and out today, 3 days, all of that. There is nothing in any of these bills now. It was bad enough before, now it's even worse, that will really empower the people of Tobago, that will really uplift them, that will give them the kind of autonomy that they need for their own self-development. They are hypocrites bent on keeping Tobago in a stranglehold. And all they continue to do is politics, play politics to campaign, using the parliament chamber to campaign, and not just to use it properly, but to use it in a manner in breach of all that we know and hold sacred as parliamentary practice and procedure. I rest my case, and I'm open to any questions if you may have any. Is there anything else? No. I should raise a point that MP Lee raised in the Parliament yesterday, that the Tobago Island government bill was never laid in the Parliament, and yet they came up, I think you use the word, birthed. They created in the JSC, they created a whole new bill apart from the Constitutional Amendment Bill, which was the original bill sent to the JSC. They come out with a second bill, never laid. And when David Lee MPs pointed out yesterday, this morning they come and they laid it and then started to debate it. Of course, I don't, up to that point, they didn't say they're going to also move 5 pages or 4 pages of amendments to that bill as well. So all these are totally new bills in the height of a pandemic, in the height of a state of emergency, in the height of a lockdown. This is what the PNM is doing. This is what they're doing, and we will continue to expose them whenever we can do so. So I'm open to your questions now, please. And I thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Marie, with the Communications Network. So the Prime Minister just recently announced he will be having a press conference today. What are your thoughts on what will be spoken on at that press conference today?
I think he'll do more of the ranting and raving that he did yesterday and probably will do today in the Parliament to say that, look, we've done this great thing for Tobago, these amended bills. What else can he say? Well, today I'm not in green, so when I talk about the lady in blue today, we'll wait and see.
Another question. I know you said that even though this claim that you were not in parliamentary rotation, as today you did not attend parliament today, or the sitting parliament today, will you be present for the next sitting?
I'm sorry. Am I prepared to? Am I prepared to what?
To be present at the next sitting.
No, I said, thank you for asking. We took the decision not to attend today. We are all up here. It's not like we are shaking work. It's not like we were home cooking and eating and so on. We came to Port of Spain. We took the decision last night that given what transpired last night. And secondly, it was brought to our knowledge that they intended to gut out the bills completely with all the amendments, that it was not a place that we would want to be today, for them to continue to trample on the rights of the people, for them to continue to breach the standing orders and to breach the parliamentary democracy. So, in essence, we really took a principled stand today to stay away from the parliament. That is the position that we all took as a caucus. And that was agreed by everyone. That's why they're all here this morning. Okay, thank you very much.
The obvious thing, what later on, if Dr. Ali makes a statement, obviously he's going to say, look, the opposition did not turn up to support that required a special majority, and he's going to try and put blame on you. I think that's how these things go. What would you say to that? Well,
what's new?
Yeah.
What's new? Blame Kamala, blame Kamala, blame Kamala. What's new?
Yeah.
What's going to be new? I guess that's what he ranted and raved about in his press conference today. So he's saying we did not turn up. We made it very clear what our position was. And I'm not surprised if he says, well, I'm not there. Might be the first time he's speaking the truth. That I'm not in the parliament this morning. You know, even yesterday, the Prime Minister, in his ranting and raving, said we did not support this bill, we did not support. Again, lies. He said we did not support the anti-terrorism bill. We did. He said we did not support, which one? The insurance? We did. We didn't support the bail bill. We did. We didn't support FATCA. We did. I mean, I could go on the list that he called out yesterday. My memory those just come up. But a list that we've never supported. What kind of narrative is that for a Prime Minister to come and lie again in the Parliament? Really? And you really expect people to support you? Did they really, Sean, in answer to you, did they really expect support for these bills when they spent 2 days ranting, raving and buffing everybody inside, bullying everybody, attacking all the people in Tobago, the Tobago leaders, attacking the UNC? Is that how you get support for things? When you need to get support, any person, what do we talk? We talk and say, okay, all right, I like yellow, you don't like yellow, you like red, and so on. Let's compromise and join the two between yellow and red. We might get a compromise. Isn't that the way? If you want support, no. Their position was always never. I think they never really wanted to pass these bills. Their entire attitude and the way they never really wanted to give Tobago any major powers. I don't think that was the intention at all. And that is why in the debate from day one was blows. You could come and say, well, okay, if you don't agree with this, let's look at this one. No. Instead, attack everybody. Hochard Charles, Watson Duke, Farley Augustine, name them, everyone. Just because they have a different opinion from you. That's a democracy. If the world had one color, what a boring world it would be. If all the flowers were the same color, what a boring world it would be. People have differences. We all have views, and all must be respected and taken care of. You okay, Sean?
Yeah, just two genuine questions
Sure,
for the
sure.
two gentlemen on either side of you.
Sure.
Well, first with the Mr. Lee, was there any after the walkout yesterday? Was there any sort of urgent communique sent to you to get your members as a chief whip to get the members? Oh boy, Lee, it's what you're going to get everybody back in. But was there any sort of communication sent to you? I don't know if you have back channels which people call you up also. But could we say that the government bench has reached out to you as chief whip to try to use your influence to get the troops back? Then the question for Rudy would be, what were your words when the speaker said apologize? You must apologize. What were the last words out of your mouth that she said? Yeah, because we can't pick up everything. So I think those would be the two questions I would have.
I mean, I change it. You can't just. You have to change it.
Better you move than you move the mics.
Shift with the chair and then you roll.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, now we must.
Yeah, boy. Okay, in answer to Sean's question, no one on the government side reached out to us or to me as chief whip. I want to believe, as the leader of the opposition just mentioned, they didn't care about passing this bill. And so they might have been, happy that we left the chamber so that they can do what they want to do, a flagrant abuse of the whole democratic process on issuing or passing these two bills. And I just want to repeat that Tobago Island government bill, as I mentioned, it was birthed in the Joint Select Committee, and it was not laid in the Parliament until this morning, and that bill should have been laid before and then sent to a Joint Select Committee. So the whole process, in our view, was wrong, and that's why they're trying to correct that process this morning.
Thank you, Sean. As I was interacting with the speaker, I indicated to the speaker, apologize for what, because I was seeking clarification on this outlandish motion on the part of the leader of government business as it related to extending the Prime Minister's time, when at no point in time, when they moved the initial motion, when the debate began, it was clear-cut that there was to be no extension of time. And I also was seeking clarification from the speaker if the leader of government business was willing to indicate what standing orders she was using to cede her time to the Prime Minister. That was the basis of when I said I was apologized, but Madam Speaker, that was what I wanted to continue the clarification on with the Speaker.
I just
Can you pass my mask, please?
Sean, I just want to add something to what the MP in Darlington said. When the Prime Minister got up on 46-2. He literally closed the debate. And he was given 60 minutes, which was the allotted time when Camille Regis, the leader of government, had changed his standing orders for speaking time on Monday morning. The wind-up person, which would have been Camille, was 60 minutes. So when Dr. Rowley, Prime Minister, stood up on 46-2 to close the debate, he had 60 minutes. So that is why we were surprised that the leader of government business could now come and move a procedural motion to extend and cede her time, because she can't cede her time because Dr. Rowley had already had 60 minutes to close the debate. So he got an extra 60 minutes from maybe the leader of government's handbag, because there's nowhere in the standing orders that you can do that. And that is why the whole democracy, and that is why the leader of government business, along with the members, decided that we had enough and we walked out.
Opposition leader.
The
Opposition leader, sorry.
There's nothing in the standing orders will tell you about ceding of time. Absolutely not.
Okay. Could we ask Mrs. Prasad, why are you not in Parliament?
Thank you very much. Well, I think you would ask that question. I think the further question there is, they say, why am I not inside of the chamber? I think that's where, in the Parliament, there's a question about that as well. I mentioned it slightly. But I'm always in the caucus room. Because of the COVID regulations, we were given these strict restrictions for only 6 of us to be in the chamber. So in equity and fairness, we rotate the members. So at any given time, we would be in the building, in the room allotted to us, and 6 would be in the chamber at any given point in time. The same thing happens with the PNM members, where nobody fusses when Rowley isn't there. His office is opposite mine. His conference room is opposite mine in the building across the corridor. You will see he comes and he goes. The minute I'm not there, I tell you, if I was totally free, I say, where's Gamla? Where's your leader? I'm there, shown. I'll continue to be there, whether they like it or not. So members remain inside the chamber or in the conference room. Now, that's how we work when we are there. You may ask me why I didn't speak in the debate. And it's all tied up with the hijacking of the debate by Mr. Rowley. We were fully prepared to speak. All of us were prepared to speak. In fact, you will see most of our members spoke. I think they said that I allowed the debate to be conducted by amateurs. But if you call my members amateurs, you did the same. You just came in and hijacked. You let all the others run their gamut as well. And I was fully prepared to speak. When Rowley suddenly hijacked the debate, which will allow no one to respond after him. I talked to you using 46.2. He came and said, I'm closing the debate. After that, no one could speak. Even though there were members on our side still to speak, members on the other side. Once the debate is closed, which is what he did, and I think MP Lee explained that, no one else can speak after that. So that's why I didn't speak. This was already being a kind of censorship by the government. Again, it's an assault on our democracy. And why did Rowley, as a Prime Minister, why he didn't pilot the motion? He wanted 2 hours. He could have piloted the motion, but again, he wants no one to speak after him. That is why he closed the debate, so nobody could get up and tell him you're not speaking the truth. You're not genuine. You're not serious. No, he didn't want that. So that's why I didn't speak. The Prime Minister hijacked the debate. There were still hours to go. The debate was hijacked. And Madam Camille ceded time. I've never heard anything more ridiculous. Ceded her time. I've never heard anything more ridiculous.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am?
But the no confidence on the Speaker of the House was yesterday the final straw that brought the no confidence?
You mean yesterday? What happened yesterday?
No confidence.
Yeah, I know you're asking. That was a final straw for us to want to bring it. We've been discussing it for a while, eh? But yesterday, there's an expression, water more than flour. I think yesterday was just unbearable. And if we don't try to do something, it will get worse. That's what's been happening. So we have been keeping notes of many times when we believe there were breaches of the standing orders in terms of the rulings of the Speaker. This one will be the latest in a series of those. And you say, why am I doing that? They have the majority, they will win anyhow. They will win the majority vote. But it allows us, if we file such a motion, it allows us to make the issues public, to put it in the public domain, because many times people don't understand what's happening there. Many times most people don't even watch the Parliament channel. I know there are some of our supporters and others, they say, well, why the opposition so quiet? Why don't they do something? It's because we are constrained and restricted by these standing orders. And if these are violated, we are further constrained and restricted in how we can respond and speak in the Parliament. So that's why we will do it. If you ask me final straw, maybe. Maybe it was just too unbearable, has become too unbearable. And we have to take some kind of action that is permissible within the bounds of the practice and procedure under the standing order. So, okay, Sean, you are the only two reporters. These guys only take pictures.
Some questions.
You have some questions?
We ask questions, but sometimes it's difficult when it's serious.
Yeah, I know. And then your editor's probably texting you.
Yeah, somebody saying what? She says that the standing orders will change under the UNC to keep the PNM opposition in check. What is saying they are...
That is totally untrue, and I challenge Fuad Khan to come and show me where we did that. Which standing order was changed for that to happen? Totally untrue. This was to give the Parliament more flexibility. This was to give the Parliament greater oversight of the conduct of the business of government and of the country. So, Mr. Khan, tell me which standing order that we changed in 2015 to give more power. Nonsense. Total nonsense. Somebody said that to me this morning. The Fuad Khan is saying, camera changed it, blah, blah, blah. He forgets that he was a deputy speaker at some point in time. Whatever changes are made would have been made by the House. Huh? It would not have been made by me or by the Speaker. These were approved by the entire House of Representatives. So nonsense, not true.
So when will you be returning?
Good question. Let's see what's next. We'll see what's next, you know. I think they may come back on Friday. Or they may take today because we are not there and go through every bill on the order paper and pass them without us. That is possible. They've done it before. And therefore we shall see. Houses are already adjourned to July 2nd, 2021 at 1:30. I think they will be coming on that day to do the finance. There's a finance bill. So we just got information. They adjourned to July 2nd, which is Friday? Friday. Excellent. Thank you all so much. Yep.
Thank you.
I guess you'll have to go and cover Mr. Rowe, you know.
Blessings to all. Welcome to Facts, Not Fiction. Join me this Thursday the 1st at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Yes, 7:30 p.m. sharp. As we discuss, my friend help my friend, and my friend win my friend, and my friend share with my friend. This Thursday, 7:30 p.m. sharp. As we discuss facts, not fiction. I'm out.